want to talk about the secret motivation behind much of what you do in terms of success, in terms of business, in terms of hopefully you've got your business, you're making six figures, you're making seven figures. And if you don't, you're at least thinking about it, you're moving towards the direction. Back when you had a job, though, and you're struggling, you're dying, you're in school, you hate being told what to do by the teachers, you work in the job, you hate being told what to do by your boss is a fucking lesser man than you are, you hate having colleagues, you hate being an equal to other people, you hate getting, just regular person treatment, which is bad. Like, regular treatment is bad. If you have regular customer service, your customer service is bad. Everywhere I go, it's bad customer service. People aren't greeted when they come in a store, they're made to wait in line. The person behind the counter doesn't smile, they don't ask you how you're doing. People will cut in line and they won't be checked by the person working there. There's no clear definition of where to line up. People drive like they don't have any consideration for other people. Apparently you're treated better in prison because in prison, I watch a lot of these prison channels, like, California prison or whatever. If you cut in front of someone in the lineup, you get stabbed in the fucking neck. If you are disrespectful to someone, you're getting stabbed. If you reach over across the table and try and take some people's food off their plate, or you don't line up, you line up too close to the other person, not give them their personal space, you risk getting fucking stabbed. Out here in the free world, a lot of those guys who come out, they have trouble adjusting because of what they feel is disrespect. And that's the core of the issue, right? Yes, money's important for security. And yes, you don't like having to do things you don't want to do in a job that you're not passionate about. But the reason you're not passionate about it, the reason you hate it, is because you're being disrespected. Okay, this is the key to everything. What you're actually looking for in all this success stuff is respect. What you haven't been getting is respect. What pushed you to, or is either pushing you to build your business, or got you this far, or got you to six figures, got you to seven figures, got you to eight figures. A big motivation in terms of that success is respect. Money, of course, itself buys freedom, but at the end of the day, you only need so many things. Okay, yes, it buys security, but at the end of the day, the bulk of the people who are pushing six figures, seven figures, eight figures, and not stopping are doing it for respect. It's something that I talk about, and it's a double-edged sword that you have to be very careful with. I call it, don't let the sense of significance strangle you. Okay, significance is that major motivator, and anybody who pushes really hard for it felt it insignificant and felt disrespected. If you see a guy who's super jacked, at some point in his life he felt very small. Okay, chances are he had an abusive father. A guy who really chases status felt insignificant. And it's really important to understand what motivates you. Because imagine if you liked being disrespected and you liked being treated as lesser than, and you liked not having power, and you liked being told what to do. Well, you'd love pretty much any job. Why would you ever want to start a business? You'd be happy as a pig in shit working for a corporation, just being told what to do, or even less than that, just working in McDonald's, right? Imagine if you liked working for a company where that makes an incredible amount of money and you get a tiny fraction of that, you get told what to do, you have no status, you have no agency, you're not treated well. If you like being disrespected, if you're a masochist, that's a great place to work. In fact, pretty much every job, every low-level job would make you happy. And most mid-level jobs would make you happy. Being on the low rung of a corporation would make you happy. Okay, so it's really important to understand what's motivating you in this game. This was an insight I had. It's an insight kind of I stole from someone watching a video. I don't really like that guy, so I'm not going to give him a shout out. Usually I give a shout out to every insight I have, but I don't want to promote that dude's channel. But this is a very important point. It's about respect. Okay, what you're chasing is respect. What you're getting, what you got, was disrespect. If this stuff appeals to you, if you're truly motivated to succeed, you've been disrespected in your life. Probably starting with your parents, and then maybe in early childhood, and then maybe in high school. And if it's all three combined, then you really got a motivation. I had a client of mine. This is why it's important to understand what the motivation, so that we can work with it. Who, was doing incredibly well. 7 figures, mid-30s, married to a beautiful woman, angry all the time. Angry all the time because he felt like he's being disrespected all the time wherever he goes. Because he made all this money, but it wasn't changing the situation that he had to wait in line and get bad treatment at a restaurant. He had to watch the waiter walk by. He had to feel disrespected when he couldn't get the waiter's attention. Despite the fact that this person might make $10 an hour, right? And he's got more money than everyone in the restaurant combined, he's still going in there and not getting his respect. And that's not what was promised in the advertisements that he was watching as kids. What was promised was James Bond, George Clooney. When you dress a certain way, when you talk a certain way, when you make enough money, you get that fucking respect. The reality is not the case a lot of the time, because your status is not fungible. George Clooney's status is fungible. He's blasted it so far around the world that he's the man, that he can go anywhere and he'll get special treatment and he'll get his respect in a restaurant, wherever he is in the world. If you're just a sort of a successful businessman and you're not known everywhere, well, there's a chance you might not get your respect. And you come to realize, what am I doing this all for? Why did I push so hard? Like, of course the money's good. I'm not like, money's huge, financial security, freedom, and all that stuff. But like, what did you need to get free from, right? I always thought my motivation with the money thing outside of security was freedom. But why did I want to get free from a job? Why did I always want to get free from school? Because I wasn't being respected, man. I wasn't being treated the way that I felt like I deserved to be treated. I have a big self-image for myself. I felt like I should be treated well. I like to treat other people well. I wanted to be treated well. I always wanted to be popular. I always wanted to be treated well. Wherever I went, and I never liked it, never will like it, not being treated that way. So it's something that you have to recognize, like, success and money and a little bit of internet fame does give you that respect in a lot of ways, but it's not fungible across the board. It's not, you're going through customs, you're still treated like a bitch. If you're going to any restaurant in Eastern Europe, where I'm at right now, the customer service in this part of the world is not what it's like in America and Canada. So it's actually worse. Okay. So you have to recognize that, like, this is what's been motivating you, and it's really that sense of significance coming from a lack of feeling significant, a lack of respect. So I actually think it's a good way to solve a problem. Like, this is probably the opposite of what a psychologist would think. I think for a guy who felt really small, getting jacked is the best way to solve that problem. Start with a structural solution. So I think being successful is the best way to solve that problem. I mean, God made you a certain way. God made you. God made leaders and made followers. And some people are cool just working a job. And all this leader-follower thing would just go right over their heads. Because it's not for them. They're not built like that. But if you are, and if you're frustrated, it's because of that sense of disrespect, that you want some respect. Remember that interview with Birdman on that dumbass radio show where he's talking about put some respect on his name. This is the guy worth almost $1 billion. You know, one of the wealthiest people in rap. You know, his label had Lil Wayne and Drake, and he's in there yelling, like barely literate, yelling, like put some respect on my name, right? This is what prisoners. This is what people can't understand about prisoners or whatever, or highly, you know, masculine guys. Like why they stab each other for stepping on somebody's shoes. It's not the shoes, it's the disrespect. Like they live and die for their respect more than money. And if anything, they're just a more in your face representation of like successful businessmen who've been able to hide that primitive nature behind a veneer of slick talk and fancy suits and stuff. But at the end of the day, they still feel the exact same way about their shoes being stepped on, about the disrespect. And that's a huge thing. And you also see, like, do you ever watch these podcasts like watch like Ric Flair and Triple H talking to each other, Ric Flair and Stone Cold Steve Austin, or Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, guys who used to hate each other. They come on the podcast and they're just complimenting each other for like the first 10 minutes, and every other sentence is a compliment to each other, like showing a ton of respect. And it's the same way with a lot of like high level criminals, man, because they know how much they want it, so they make sure to give it to other guys, knowing that those other guys are prima donnas as well. Okay, that's why I keep telling you guys about constructive criticism or anything like that, like always being in rapport, being respectful, giving respect to get respect, but recognize it like the respect, the sense of significance is not necessarily fungible.